For reasons that utterly escape everyone involved, you're listening to a bipolar, a schizophrenic, and a podcast. Here are your hosts, Gabe Howard and Michelle Hammer.
Hello, welcome to a bipolar, schizophrenic, and a podcast. I'm Michelle, I'm schizophrenic.
My name is Gabe Howard, and I live with bipolar disorder.
Yes, hi Gabe. Hi Gabe.
I love it when you start off the show because you're always like so confused. You've got that, oh shit, I have to talk now. I'll just say hi to Gabe again.
Keep saying hi to Gabe.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, Gabe, something that's been puzzling me. I get these messages online like you're such an inspiration, what you're doing is so great, you're so amazing, and everyone kind of like, they're always thinking that I'm this fantastic person, yet I don't really think I'm that great. So I kind of try to balance myself with, am I cool? Am I not cool? What is the right social media balance of amazingness?
You've opened up a lot there. There's so many ways that we can take this. First, you said that people look at your curated social media page where you've taken time, effort, energy, and decided what to post in, some deliberate fashion. And they come to the conclusion that you're cool, awesome, great. I think that you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody's social media page that isn't curated to lead people to a certain opinion. And that's however they want to portray themselves.
Well, you never know. I have like a big fan on Instagram, like these two sisters that message me a lot. One of them messaged me on Facebook, like right in the middle of the conversation. It just goes, I can't believe you're actually talking to me. And I'm like, really? And she goes, yeah, you're like my biggest inspiration in the world. You're like my hero. And I'm just thinking, what? Like, what? I mean, growing up, nobody liked me, and then somehow now people are thinking that I'm cool, and it's like I never got rid of the low self-esteem from high school, and then I built up my confidence, but yet I go back to that low self-esteem because how could I be somebody's inspirational hero because of, starting a whole conversation about mental health, opening up about schizophrenia? Is that really inspirational, Gabe? Am I putting myself down?
So you are and you aren't. It's such a nuanced conversation because you can be two things. You can be three things. All of us can. I think that Michelle Hammer is absolutely, unequivocally an inspiration when it comes to living well with schizophrenia. It's a difficult illness to manage. It takes a lot of time, energy. You have to go to the doctor. You have to take your medicine. You had to find the right medicine. You had to survive suicide attempts and managing families and on and on and on. And that's the fact that you came out the other side. That's incredibly inspirational. But you're a slob. You're disorganized. None of that is an insult. I'm just saying that if somebody was like, look, I think that Michelle Hammer is an inspiration for how to build a business, I'd be like, look, I don't know. She has piles of stuff all over her room, and she doesn't know what the word database means. So none of that is
I know what a database is. What are you talking about?
All right. How about this? The same thing for me. I think that I'm absolutely an inspiration when it comes living well with bipolar disorder. But nobody in their right mind should take relationship advice from Gabe Howard. I'm twice divorced. I was engaged 3 times. Well, one of them, I don't even know if I was engaged. We're just like, we're going to get married and we should move in because I cheated on one of my wives. Like for real. If somebody's like, Gabe is my inspiration, I want to handle all of my marriages just like him, you'd think, wow, that is not inspirational. But if somebody said, hey, I want to live well and fight my inner demons and my mental health issues, Gabe is an inspiration, they'd be correct. But they're talking about the same guy.
I see what you're saying. That you're an inspiration, but they're wrong? The wrong inspiration? You're not perfect, Gabe? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that in the right light, all of us are fantastic. And in the right light, all of us suck. You are the enemy in somebody's story. And you're the hero in somebody else's. And
I'm an enemy in quite a few people's stories because I've been called a faker many, many a times. This is actually a funny story that happened last night. My partner, she kind of said, people they're always writing to you that you're like all recovered and you live well with your schizophrenia and you're so high functioning and all that. But I live with you and I experience you all the time and you're definitely schizophrenic.
I mean,
I think you would think the same thing, Gabe.
I work with you. You stay at my house. We travel the country. You are definitely insane. This has nothing to do with your schizophrenia. That's actually very well managed. I think your personality is fucked up. Like, I think that we had to treat the schizophrenia so that we could get to your god-awful personality that while I do know and love, let's face it.
I have a great personality.
Would you be friends with you?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So if I started treating you the way that you treated me, you'd be cool
That's
with that.
different. We are work buddies, Gabe. We are work buddies. That is different.
Fine. So if I started acting at work the way that you act at work, you'd be cool with that.
We would have a great time at work.
We'd never get anything done. You have never met a deadline, ever.
That's not true.
Do you know what a deadline is?
Thursday deadlines, I finish them on Thursdays. This is the Thursday deadline, I do it.
How many times do I have to remind you?
Doesn't matter, it gets done. Because it doesn't matter. Because some things get mailed to me late. Some things get mailed to me late or after the fact. And, don't make me call mixed management again, and then you're going to cry again because I said somebody mismanaged a project, and then you're going to throw a hissy fit. I was the manager. Now everyone's going to yell at me because I was the manager. Blah, 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 blah. Whiny little Gabe, I'm the manager. Blah, blah, blah.
So this is your management style, to call me whiny little Gabe?
Listen, I manage myself. That's why I own my own business, and I'm the only employee. So says me.
Because you got fired from 11 jobs.
8!
I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. The woman who got fired from 8 jobs is telling me that I'm not good at running a business.
I never said you weren't good at running a business. I said you sent me a project, said rush, and you had scribbles on a piece of paper and half the information.
That is true. So there you go. There's an example of where, in general, as the email that you once got so succinctly put it, why do you work with Gabe? He must be very organized. Of the two of us, I am the more organized one. Would you agree with that?
Yes, you are the most organized one.
Right. But that example that you just gave was an example of me being completely disorganized and completely fucking up, right?
Yes.
But I'm still the more organized one, even though I made a mistake. And that's your tie into the social media issue right here. You are an inspiration, Michelle. But being an inspiration to somebody doesn't equal perfection. And just because other people find your story inspirational doesn't mean that you have self-esteem.
I guess that's true. Because, I get this message about my WebMD video. Your video also gave me incentive to expand into the digital realm. Pass on the knowledge that I've discovered. I'm not blazing a trail. People like you have done that. I'm just trying to beat the path to make it easier for others. Thank you again. I'm blazing a trail, Gabe. Do you feel like I'm a trailblazer? Because this person on Instagram did.
We don't really have to discuss whether you're a trailblazer or not, because to that person you are. Success is an opinion. Some people are like, listen, I think that I am very successful because I make minimum wage and I have a subsidized place to live. And they're very happy and they're not lying. Other people look at that and think that that's failure. And they're not lying either. Some people believe that if they don't live in a $10 million house, they're worthless. People think that success really just has some sort of definitive meaning. It doesn't. I
don't know. Whenever I answer an email and...
You seem to be saying that you can't be an inspiration unless you feel like an inspiration. Just like with the word success, where people say that they can't be a success unless they meet their definition of success. And that's really my point. The definition of success changes from person to person to person to person. What you find successful, I may not. It doesn't make you wrong and me right. You've decided, Michelle, that you're not an inspiration. So you think that somebody that thinks you are an inspiration must be wrong. You realize you both can be right.
I guess you're right, because when I email people back, anyone that emails my website, I email back, and I write my name, Michelle. People get very excited when they realize it's me emailing them back. And then I'm like, why are they so excited that it's me emailing them back? It's weird to me when people get excited to talk to me, because I don't know why it's so good, but you're saying success, inspirational success. What is the top of success, because I never think that success doesn't have a limit. It goes on forever and ever and ever and forever, unless you're Beyonce, but she never stops either.
One time when I was giving a speech, and I walked up to the podium, and I gave my speech, and everybody clapped, just like they always do. It was good. It was a good speech, and I was very happy. And I always walk off the podium, and I tell people on the stage that, I will meet you up front for questions. And a woman walked up to me, and she asked if she could get a selfie. And I said, of course. And she stood next to me, and she held out her phone to take the selfie, and she goes, I've just never met a celebrity before. And I looked at her, and I said, oh, honey, you still haven't.
Wow. That's so funny.
I don't consider myself a celebrity. I don't. And it would be ridiculous of me to consider myself a celebrity. But I talked to this woman, and she's like, look, I'm a huge fan of the show. She also asked where Michelle was. She was one of the first people when I got there to ask where you were. She doesn't care if we have a gabillion listeners or one listener. To her, we're very meaningful. And that's all that matters. My favorite band in the whole world did not sell 20 million copies. I don't even think they sold 50,000 copies. But I love them. They're a local band in Columbus, Ohio called Watershed. They've released about 9 albums. They've been active for 25 years. They all have day jobs. You should check them out at watershedcentral.com. They are absolutely amazing.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
But yeah, they never made it. Outside of Ohio, you've probably never heard of them. But they're still my favorite band.
I've never heard of them. Never.
Absolutely. So listen, and think about sports.
Well, you want to talk about sports, Gabe? You always cut out everything I say about sports.
I never cut it out. I cut out everything that you say about lacrosse. But let's talk hockey. You live in New York, so if you were a hockey fan, you would probably say that your favorite team was the
Rangers.
Yes, because you live in New York.
Right.
I live in Columbus, so my favorite hockey team is the Columbus Blue Jackets. You realize that the only reason that both of us gave those names is because that's where we live. We literally have the favorite team that is geographically located.
I could like the Islanders too, Gabe.
That's true. You have 2 choices.
That's right.
You've got it easier than the rest of us.
I don't even see how this relates, Gabe. We're talking about inspirational people, and now we're talking about hockey. Nobody wants to hear about hockey.
It relates because the only reason that you like either the Islanders or the Rangers is because that's your lived experience. Your lived experience is New York. You're supporting the home team. The reason that I like the Columbus Blue Jackets is because I'm supporting the home team. We could try to figure out which one of us is right and which one of us is wrong, or we could acknowledge that we're both right. So to go back to social media, you're saying that people read your social media and come to the conclusion that you are somehow amazing. Let them.
Just everyone wants to think I'm amazing. I should just let them. I think it's my own issue of understanding that I guess I'm kind of cooler than I think I am.
I think that in some ways you're much cooler than you think you are. And in other ways, yeah.
I'm less cooler than I think I am? Gabe, I know for sure that I'm much more cooler than you. That's for sure.
Well, but how hard is it to be... Really? I want to be clear. The contest that you're bragging about winning... is that Michelle Hammer, who is a pretty young woman who lives in New York City, is cooler than an overweight 43-year-old from Ohio.
You're just on my coattails, Gabe.
Why don't you go beat up a toddler and declare yourself the heavyweight champ?
Just one sec. We need to hear from our sponsor.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.com. Secure, convenient, and affordable online counseling. All counselors are licensed, accredited professionals. Anything you share is confidential. Schedule secure video or phone sessions, plus chat and text with your therapist whenever you feel it's needed. A month of online therapy often costs less than a single traditional face-to-face session. Go to BetterHelp.com/PsychCentral and experience 7 days of free therapy to see if online counseling is right for you. BetterHelp.com/PsychCentral.
And we're back talking about social media, feeling like a fraud, Michelle being an inspiration. It's kind of all over the place at this point. Michelle, bringing it back to social media. Bringing it back to social media. Be honest. Do you ever put the bad things on social media? Like all the mistakes that you've made or the people that you've hurt or the fights that you've gotten into? You know, when you curate your social media, don't you stick to the inspirational and positive things?
Not always. I mean, when the ridiculous lady yelled at me at the market about being a liar, I started tweeting about it because I felt like tweeting about it. Sometimes I'll like screenshot like nasty comments and put them on Twitter as well. And then our good buddy Rachel Star Withers will go on my Instagram and start tweeting and start messaging them back and stuff like that.
But again,
I try to keep it cool. I try to make it look fresh, try to make it trendy, try to make it look awesome, because I do have awesome photos. I have awesome stuff. I know how to make things look cool, but I'm not going to, share an ugly photo. That's stupid.
But why not?
Why would I share an ugly photo? That's dumb.
But that's my point. Every single photo you look at and you make sure that you look smiley, adorable, pretty, sexy, whatever you're going for. If the picture does not portray that, you don't post it. The person looking at it thinks that you're inspirational and awesome and cute and cool because all they ever see are examples of inspiration, awesome, and cool. You know as well as I do that you've taken a bad picture.
Of course.
You just don't post it.
Right.
So what I'm saying to the people that are looking at it, you're asking why they think that you're an inspiration? Because you only show them inspirational things. And you said, well, I show them negative things. When people make bad comments about me, I post those. Yeah, but you post the bad comments and then you rising to fight it. You show yourself rising above it and fighting and pushing away the haters and beating down the trolls. You look more amazing when people insult you, not less amazing.
I suppose the haters gonna hate no matter what, but I think I have more lovers than haters, I would say.
I listened to the hypersexuality episode. You have a lot of lovers.
Oh, shut up, asshole.
One time I got an email. I got an email from somebody who said some pretty hard things, and I cried. It actually reduced me to tears. And I got up and I went and talked to my wife and I showed her the email and she's like, oh, Gabe, but she understood why I was so upset. And I couldn't sleep that night. So the next day was really rough because I had to go to work. That sort of compounded pretty much from the start of that email for the next 4 or 5 days. It was really, really bad. It was not a good mental health time for Gabe. And then I got over it and I was fine. And this is the first time that I've ever spoken of it. And I'm leaving out a lot of details on purpose because that's my point. I never posted that. I didn't post, got a hard email, cried a lot. I'll post that somebody called me a bipolar asshole or that I'm a faker or that Michelle's a bitch. I'll share that. And I do try to share when I'm having trouble sleeping or when I have depression or things like that. But I still curate it to make sure that I only talk about it after the fact. Yeah. If that makes sense. I'll be like, I was depressed last week, but now I'm doing great. So I don't even post about it in the moment. I post about happiness in the moment. I post about success in the moment. But I post about things that sort of went downhill. I post about them after it's over and I've already sort of risen back up. And I know that you do that too. Even if you don't do it intentionally, you do it.
I do. I mean,
we all do.
I like to post a quote that says, from Mean Girls, don't let the haters stop you from doing your thing.
Michelle, have you ever met anybody that inspired you that you thought was particularly awesome? And then after you met them, the shine was kind of off of them. There's an expression that says you should never meet your heroes. My
hero? I've never met a hero of mine. I've never met Buffy the Vampire Slayer, no.
I had this really awesome teacher, and I'm not going to say their name, but I had this really awesome teacher in school, and I just remembered them just so incredibly fondly when I was a child. And when I became an adult, I met this teacher. I met them as an adult, and then they were just an adult, and I was an adult. I was well into my 30s when I met them. And I realized that, this teacher was an incredible teacher, and I had great memories of them. But man, I wish I didn't meet her. For real. Because they were crazy.
Wow.
Absolutely crazy.
Whoa.
I still think that they are an incredible teacher, but yeah, I don't want to be this person's friend for shit. So now what do? I think this person is not a good person, to be friends with, but I think this person is a great teacher. You can be a mental health inspiration, and you can also be, god-awful and annoying at other things. You can be two things, Michelle. Everybody can.
I guess the whole thing is recovered schizophrenic. I'm trying to show recovered schizophrenia and everything like that, but I don't want people to get the impression that I don't suffer as well. I do struggle a lot, but I feel that it doesn't always come out that way. And I like that I am an inspiration, but I don't want to give false hope to everybody. I don't want all these questions are, what meds are you on? All that stuff, How can I help somebody be just like you? And I can try to help everything like that, but just because I am how I am and the appearances that I give and how I can talk to people, that doesn't mean I don't go home at night and pace through my living room back and forth until I take my medicine, and then I can finally go back to bed.
It's a very difficult balance. You're absolutely right. I want people to know that I live well and that I have a normal life and that I love my life. But I also don't want them to have an unrealistic expectation of what recovery looks like. Recovery doesn't mean 100% symptom-free. Recovery doesn't mean never crying uncontrollably or never having, mania or hypomania or depression or being symptomatic. It doesn't mean not going to the doctor. It means all of those things. And sometimes we have a tendency to only talk about the great things that we're doing in our lives because that's where we want to put our focus. We want to put our focus on the great things. We don't want our audience, whether it be on social media or on this podcast, to think that we don't suffer like they do, because we do suffer like they do. And we did suffer like they do. And if the only place that you're looking at what recovery looks like is on somebody's Facebook page, you're going to be disappointed because Facebook is fake.
Maybe 6 months ago or so, I was at an ad board at a pharmaceutical company.
Thoughts and opinions are her own.
Yeah. And when I first got up, I read a little thing about myself, and there was like me and some psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever. And we go to lunch, and this guy, his name might have been Bob, or it's not Bob, I don't know, let's call him Bob. Bob comes up to me and sits near me during lunch, and he just decides to turn to me and say, well, you're not really a suffering schizophrenic. You're kind of a really bad example of a schizophrenic because you don't really suffer at all. And I've never been more offended. He said I'm not a suffering schizophrenic and that I'm a bad example of a schizophrenic person because of what? He experienced me for 3 hours and he told me that I am not a good example. I've never been more offended. I was so angry. For the whole rest of the ad board, I gave him dirty, nasty looks. I tried to interrupt everything he was trying to say. Everything he said, I said I don't agree with. And I hated him, and then I told my connection there in an email that he incredibly insulted me, and I never want to do anything with him ever again. And they recently sent me a letter if I want to, do any more stuff with them, sign this, send that. Yeah, so I'm still good with that company. But Bob, who was maybe but his real name, he's a dick.
But there's an example. He looked at 3 hours of you and made a determination.
Yes.
Other people just read social media and make a determination. I need people to think broader. Please don't think that we're talking about just Michelle's social media or just Gabe's social media. People have a tendency to do this always. I have talked to so many people that are just like, well, I see my friends on Facebook and they're doing so much better than me. Yeah. Anybody can do better than anybody on Facebook. Are you kidding? I can make myself look better than Bill Gates on Facebook. He's still the third richest man in America. I think he's okay, but are you kidding? They made dinosaurs in the movies. Dinosaurs still aren't real. I don't want to say that it's fake because people aren't being fake, but it's curated. That's what social media is. It's in our control. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean that it's fake, but don't make decisions based on it. And certainly don't compare yourself to others. Other people's success is not the same as your success. Michelle desperately wants to be a famous artist. If I became a famous artist tomorrow, I'd be miserable. So, that's just the reality of it. It doesn't mean that Michelle's goal is bad.
So if other people are finding inspiration in me, I really need to find the inspiration in myself and believe in myself, really.
That's incredibly true. When you're alone with your thoughts, you better believe in yourself because you'll be the only one there.
It's true.
Michelle, before we hop off, any final words?
I believe I am a true inspiration, and you can keep telling me that.
Those are your final words? You're so humble.
No.
Your humility really comes through with statements like that. Thank you, everybody.
No, I'm just saying silly things. It's all good, people. I love everyone.
Obviously, if you want to say nice things to Michelle, you can hop over to schizophrenic.nyc. You can buy any of her designs, her art, her clothing. It's really, really cool. If you love me, you can go to GabeHoward.com. I did write the great book, Mental Illness is an Asshole, which is available on Amazon, as is everything. But it's also available signed with free stickers at GabeHoward.com. Please, if you liked the show, share it on Facebook. Tell everybody that you know. Share it on Instagram, social media. Write a letter to your grandma. Tell her what a podcast is. Explain it to her. Give her all of the tools that she needs so that she can listen as well. We do really well in the mom and grandma demographic, right?
I believe so. I got to love those mom and grannies.
Did you say I love the mom and grannies?
I love mom and grannies.
Thanks, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Inspired!
You've been listening to a Bipolar, a Schizophrenic, and a podcast. If you love this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Head over to iTunes or your preferred podcast app to subscribe, rate, and review. To work with Gabe, go to gabehoward.com. To work with Michelle, go to schizophrenic.nyc. For free mental health resources and online support groups, head over to psychcentral.com. The show's official website is psychcentral.com/BSP. You can email us at show@psychcentral.com. Thank you for listening, and share widely.
Be arraigned. I watch too much SVU, obviously.
You know why Law and Order Special Victims Unit is such a popular show?
Because I don't know. Good, because it's amazing.
No, because it's the only place in America where sexual assault against a woman is taken seriously.
Oh, that's a good point.